Hello and welcome to the show. Now, over the last couple of weeks, if you noticed, I've been involved with lots of comedians and lots of funny things. So I'm liking that vibe, so I decided to invite Yaaseen Barnes. He's one of the upcoming comedians. He calls himself a one-liner comedian. I don't know what that means. Yaaseen, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Now, before we go into Yaaseen Barnes, this one-liner comedian part is something I find interesting. What's that all about?
It's the shortest form of a joke. It's just a setup and a punchline.
But isn't that more difficult than most? I mean, because normally you want to tell a story, you come all the way around, and here you give this one line and it's supposed to do it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's something I find fascinating. Really, when I've learned to tell a joke in the shortest form, because I just want to tell jokes. I don't want to tell long stories or long impersonations. And I'm not saying it's bad. It's just not for me. Like my own style is just punch, 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 punch,
Yes.
punch.
Yeah. So we're going to go a bit into your history. I know that you got some sight of yourself at the Grahamstown Festival,
Yeah.
and then things happened from there, and you was the news and that kind of thing. But there's a starting point with everybody, and there's defining points with everybody.
Yeah.
And comedy is not the type of thing that everybody goes into, especially within this community, and I'm just being frank about that.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yes, recently we've been dealing with Riyad Musa, Muslim. We met there, and Riyad then told me that you need a bit of profiling because you're busy doing great work. But where did that story start?
Basically, I was a very quiet child growing up, and I always.
Why do all comedians say that?
We really are. We never the loud one. The loud, boasty one normally goes on to become an accountant or something more boring, I'll say.
Yes.
So we normally the quiet ones, then we start shining later. Yeah. So, right, like I was basically the quiet one in the group, and then at the end of the conversation, I would make like the little short joke at the end, and no one would laugh. For like I'll say my whole.
So that couldn't have been your defining moment for comedy.
No, but it was though. Like I felt like that was defining in the sense of that I was busy learning to tell one-liners because that was like the short one-liners.
But this was when you were still in school.
Yeah, in high school. And then people would call bad jokes Yaaseen because my jokes would be
Yaaseen
that
jokes.
bad. You know, it would just be Yaaseen. That's a Yaaseen.
Oh my God! So for you to get a title like that is a good start to the career. I suppose.
Yeah, I was actually like I didn't know how to feel about it really, and then I started Twitter, and then my Twitter really took off because Twitter taught me how to tell a joke in 140
Yes.
characters. Whether it's a funny joke or it was just a simple joke, it's just in 140 characters. And someone asked me, why don't you take it to stage? Are you a comedian? Go take it to stage, see what you can do.
But was that ever part of the plan?
No,
So you had no such inclination.
I used to watch comedy, but I was never like I want to be a comedian. It was never in my wildest dreams to stand on the stage. I was never the showman type to stand on the stage or to like perform in front of the friends even. And then one day, I think it was out of stupidity, I decided, you know what, I'm going to stand on the stage and go tell my jokes.
But that's a brave thing to do.
At the time,
Because I mean, knowing the fact that you were known for the Yaaseen jokes,
Yes.
I mean, like really.
yeah, it was. I think it was more stupidity really than anything that got me going. So I went on stage and I was telling normal jokes, like I'll say stories. And then one of the guys who followed me on Twitter came to me after and he's like, "Don't tell stories, just recite your tweets. Go on and tell your tweets on the stage." And then I went up a couple of weeks later and I just did my jokes. And
Based on your tweets.
based on my
Yeah.
tweets, and it's just one-liner, so it's a setup, small setup, then punchline, and the crowd responded well to it, and I realized this is my calling, this is what I want to do.
But this means that you've got to come up with a serious load of content because how many one-liners can you? I can't think of one, but okay. How many one-liners do you come up with?
In a 10-minute set, I do about like 80. So there's like 80 jokes that I
All
just
by
do.
memory.
All by memory. So there's what I learned in school, where I didn't apply in school, what I'm applying now is that those memorization tactics where they say you're in a room and you're seeing, there's the camera, So there's so many jokes. You list the jokes under camera. You see the light and you memorize jokes under the light. So then, as you stand on stage, then you go.
It's a technique. Yes.
Yeah. So you use the memorization techniques that I didn't apply in school, but now they're paying off now.
No.
When I stand on stage.
So just taking one step back. Okay, so you catapult into the comedy world in this very strange way. But the background, your mother, parents, you live in Cape Town. You're born here. Tell us a bit about them.
My father he's very dry. He's got a very dry sense of humor. Not a lot of.
Are you saying that this whole thing was hereditary?
Yeah, I think I'm actually the sum of my parents because I'm like my father's very dry. He's quite like, serious. He's a calm guy.
No, that's what I'm trying to work out because normally the kids are sort of a little manifestation, not always, but sometimes of the parents.
Yeah.
So okay, you're saying the dry jokes.
so the dry jokes of my father, basically, the calmness, the collectedness.
Yes.
And then my mother, she's an English teacher, so she's quite witty.
Yes.
And then, I'm basically the sum of my parents, where I'm dry and witty, that I've been fused with.
Okay.
So that's where because on stage, I try and like refrain from action, so I just stand on one spot and I just deliver my jokes. So that's my father, and then my mother's the wordplay that I've learned from my mother.
So the other siblings, are they like you? Are they into jokes or not? Or
they my family has been a great support for me, but they've also been my testing ground. When I have my joke, it's like, guys, come together. I'm going to tell you a joke now, and if they approve, then we're taking it to stage. But before this, they were just irritated, and they were just like, don't tell us jokes, don't.
So you're saying that you're blocking out all the past ones. Because were they just too dry, or
they were very simple, I'll say, because it's this like what I do when I write a joke, I like to have layers on them, so that they ambiguous and they apply both ways. Yes. And I'll say in my past I used to write very simple ones.
Yes.
And so now I've learned, so I can't remember any of the bad ones, but I have my own bad ones now. Yes. As well. But
so do you ever feel when you're in a social setting, for example, you go to a wedding or you're sitting at a braai with some family or something like that, or meeting up with some friends, that because you have memorized all these jokes, do they not become part of your innate conversation?
Surprisingly not. Like when we are together, I'm not the funny guy in the group. I am normally a bit more reserved, where I don't do content though. Like I don't speak about my jokes, or I'll make jokes with people, but it's never the material I'll use on stage. So sometimes my friends make fun of my jokes when they like call back my jokes in real conversations. But normally when we just like sitting around, then it's just normal conversation. I'm not the jokey guy.
That I think that's a joke. but basically when I met you the first time, I remember we met at Muslim.
Yeah.
And I then heard that you were into comedy, and then before the show we met again. I was trying to find that personality that speaks of comedy and that sort of thing, and I felt that you came across a bit serious, and I was thinking, okay, maybe it will come out a bit later. But that happens with many people that I meet. There are actors that I know that when you tell them to act like they never saw the guy walking behind us now, they just can't. And I'm like, but you do act, So that doesn't come out in your personality per se. I don't know if anyone's told you that.
Yeah, no, again, I try to save I don't want to be that guy who's like on the joke all the time. So we normally save our jokes for stage or.
Yes. So are you serious by nature?
I'm not serious.
Or reserved?
I'm more reserved. I'm not serious, but I'm very reserved. Okay. I was, like I said, as a child, I was never the jokey one that was joking in the whole group and everybody laughed. I was just the one at the back, and I think I'm still that now. We're in conversation, it's a normal conversation, and then later on we'll have jokes.
Talking about the actual content of the jokes itself, what inspires that? Is it satirical in the form of political? Because I know that you work for the news, so some of that might be there, I'm not sure, because that's what the news is about. Or is it issues and things that happen to people? Is it community based? Where's your content sitting?
There's a line I saw in a TV show a couple of years ago, and I realized it applies to me now. Is that the guy says there's a joke in there somewhere, So it's basically whenever there's a conversation, whatever I see, there's a joke somewhere there, and you just start making links.
So can it be anything from political down to the
Everything.
latest vehicle or anything that happens?
Everything that we see. That's why Twitter has been such I'll say, an amazing tool for me, because it's such a fast-paced thing where you see the news and you see what. So some jokes are only relevant for a week because that's when how long the news is.
Correct, yes.
And then other jokes we can live forever because the content is based forever, or it's conversations with people, and you pick up on cliches, especially on the wordplay on cliches that I'll work on and stuff. So when I say jokes come from everywhere, jokes come from everything. You see something, you get a joke. You hear something, there's a joke. Sometimes you see one thing and you link it to something you heard years ago, and you just start making the links together.
Any current shows, and are you currently in tune with any other comedians? I know that you have a relation with Riyad Musa, and are you currently doing things with them at all?
There's talks with the Muslim of doing a group collective comedy show.
Yes.
And then myself and Sami Arif, a Joburg-based comedian as well. We're also in talks of doing some future shows or a tour basically of comedians, other Muslim comedians outside of Riyad Musa. So we're working on our own stuff as well.
Yes.
And there's some small shows we're busy with in Cape Town, because what we're trying to do now is telling South Africans that they can spend their time and their money watching South African talent, because sometimes the big American guys come and they have sold out shows, but our local talent, we struggle to get people to come to our shows.
But don't you think that's a general phenomenon in the world? For example, someone that is maybe from the UK, for example, he's a local guy there. So when he comes here, it's like, this guy from the UK is coming. And likewise, when you are going over to the UK, this guy from South Africa is coming.
Yeah.
So should you not be broadening your horizons, literally and figuratively, with what you do?
Yes, no, there's a lot of plans for my plans to go overseas and go test my comedy to see if it works in other countries. But right now, I'm trying more to get South Africans to come to comedy, to get them to go, like, we can spend our time and our money watching South African talent, looking at our own comedy, because we want to teach the country that we can laugh at each other. We can laugh at each other, at ourselves, that we as a group, we're funny people. There's so many funny looking people, funny sounding people in South Africa that we should learn to laugh.
Yes, and you know what, I totally love the idea that you're saying that, and I'll tell you why. I know this is, I normally don't go into religion on this program at all, but I'm going to just go there a little bit. As Muslims, I believe that we need to smile more. We need to laugh more, and that for me, spirituality is about smiling. Now, I know that other people might have some opposing views watching the show right now, but not everything is about being serious. And yes, there are serious things happening around us in the world, and we understand that people are dying and all kinds of things are happening. But I believe that laughter is a good medication. I know that's a cliche, but yes, it is. And I believe that we should be smiling more, because that breaks barriers, not only with the people around us, but with the other communities. As Muslims, we need to smile at them. We need to show them the lighter side of what we do. And so I think that there's a very intrinsic place in this community for people like yourself, Riyad Musa, Sami Arif, and whoever is out there, to be able to tell our community and show our community that we need to be smiling more, so that people see us in a different light.
Smiling is a sunnah. The Prophet ﷺ, he
we talk about all the others,
yes,
but that one which he said might be a charity,
yes,
or is a charity, we just, it's fine.
And the other thing is, one of the great things that I was talking to Kurt Skundra, the owner of the Cape Town Comedy Club, and we were standing on top of his club looking down, and everybody, there were people from different denominations. There were people from the UK, people from Netherlands, there were colored people, there were black people, there were white people, just people basically. And it's amazing for me to tell a joke and everybody laughs. And at that moment, no one knows that they're different, because they all just thinking about the joke, and they are all unified when they sit there. And it's one of the, I'll say, the gifts that I have with my job, is that I can make people come, because you see people come together because they laugh at each other, and they laugh at, because you point at one person and everybody gets that joke, and then you just unify everybody. So we're busy doing community work.
And you actually hear them still joking about
yes.
it.
And then you see people talk to each other across the tables, because they all getting that moment together, and they share that moment and that joke together.
Speaking about the fact that you mentioned now that you see people all laughing together, for a comedian, is the adrenaline that makes you run people laughing? So this means that, do you watch your crowd? So when they respond, do you become more, I wouldn't say aggressive, but you become more inspired to do what you do? And if there's a night that they're not responding so well, do you feel your energy going?
Yeah, there are nights where they're a quiet crowd, but then they're loud smilers. So they're looking and they're enjoying.
It depends where they come from in which community. Then.
So then they enjoy the joke and they're just giving you a nice big smile, and you go, okay, that's the level we're working with tonight. Then there's nights where it's a bit calmer, but then there's also nights where they are raucous, where people stand up and lose their minds, and those are all moments that we work for as comedians, where you want to know that my thought that I had, and I put it in their head, and they agreed with me on that thought. And I took them to a place where they don't think about their bills, they don't think about their worries, they're only enjoying that moment.
It's about that. I think that's important. It's about that. I mean, many people take to substances for that.
Yeah.
So they'll go and drink and they'll take a smoke of funny things so that their mind can be departed from their worldly problems.
Yeah.
But you are saying that the alternative to that is that listening to comedy does take you away from those things.
And that's our drug on the same side, because it's, I was watching a documentary and one of the guys referred to it as the joke coke, where you stand on stage for the first time and you give this joke and the people respond to it, and you just become addicted to that feeling, and you go like, I want to make more people happy, I want to make more people laugh, and you just start chasing it, and you go to different stages. Sometimes we play in like small restaurants where there's like 10 people, but they're a warm crowd and you just want to give it. And then there's stages, like I played last year on Riyadh Musa's Keeping You in Stitches, 1,500 people. It was a huge hall, and to play to that numbers, like,
I know that show is doing quite well.
Yeah.
Yes. So people like Riyadh Musa and yourself going out there, I think that it's a great thing that you're doing, that you are able to break that ice, if I can call it that, with people, because that is what it is at this stage. I know that you have some plans going down in the future. Where do you see yourself landing up within the comedy space? Because you kind of originally didn't have a plan, and it happened by default. And but I'm sure by now you decided, well, this is the plan.
Yeah, I'm planning.
I'm the die laughing. You know?
Yeah, that's the dream, is to die laughing and to have everyone laugh with me. Next year, inshallah, I'd like to have a one-man show, and then by the end of the year, take it on tour around the country. And also just there's a lot of small shows that I'm busy with as well, so that I'd want to get involved in TV as well. Maybe have my own TV show, just so that, just to show South Africans different forms of comedy, because a lot of South Africans feel that comedy is when you joke and you do impersonations of different accents in South Africa, which is amazing and it works. But my style is more like a thought process of comedy, where it's little bits of just short jokes, and because I also do comedy through graphs, with bar graphs and line graphs and pie charts and stuff. Yeah, it's that look.
Something interesting.
It's something different.
I'm not grasping that, but what's that about?
I just feel like there's other ways to tell jokes. That's the other thing.
Through graphs?
Through graphs.
How does that happen? Maybe I'm just not very out there on the social buzz, so I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
But how do you do that?
The thing is, sometimes people see something and they realize like that's a line graph. That's exactly what it is.
Right.
But when you put the different variables of the line graph to make a joke, then the graph becomes a joke. And it just takes normal life situations that you can make it into a graph. Because I was also very...
I wasn't that bad at maths, but I'm not getting this one. But you're going to have to show me that.
Then there's more reason for you to come to the shows. Yes. But I was very science orientated as a child growing up. I was a nerd. I was basically a nerd at the back making jokes.
I didn't want to say that, but when you were saying that you were very conservative, and I looked at the shape of the glasses, I was like, is this fashion glasses?
No.
Or is this coming with Yaaseen?
These are tested, but they've also become part of the look. But I've grown up with specs, so I've been the nerd. So in class, while we finished our equations before the rest of the class were busy doing it, myself and the guy who sits next to me, we used to do jokes on the graphs, and we should make math sums into jokes, and just small little things. So I'll say science has always been a part of my life, and now I'm trying to bring it into my comedy. because I want my comedy to be a lot of who I am. So there's a colored aspect of it, there's a Muslim aspect of it, there's a science aspect, the English aspect as well with the wordplay. So my comedy, I'm trying to make me. And so when people watch my comedy, they go, that's Yaaseen, and that's all that Yaaseen thinks of. Because a lot of the times, like, I have funny thoughts, and it's not necessarily a joke, it's just a funny thought. So I'm trying to build all that into my brand as well.
I think that's a good approach today. Now, Yaaseen, you're only doing what you're doing because somebody or some people out there support what you're doing, and that's within your structures. Most people don't do things that they want to do because they don't have that support. And there's people at home that's sitting by and saying, I don't want you to be that, I want you to fly a plane, and I want you to do this and another. But you're doing what you're doing because of these people. Who are they, and why do they support what you're doing?
It's my family and my friends.
So this goes from your mother?
My mother, my father, and my sisters.
They've always been open to what you're doing?
I've been I've had a very broad, or I've been blessed with a lot of options to do a lot of things in my life. And my parents have trusted me to give, they told me, like, whatever you choose, we will support you. And not in the financial sense, but in the sense of, like, there's some support that you need that's just them going, well,
no, they'll be happy for you.
Yes, they'll be happy for me and the choices, and they trust my choices as well. Even though they've guided me, they also trusted the riskier choices. So last year I did a special for Comedy Central, which is Divine, and I had to quit my job at the time to go do this show. And I had to go to my parents and go, Mom and Dad, I want to quit my job, I want to tell jokes. Right. And they were like, if that's your choice, then we support you and we will be with you 100%.
I think for most people it's not that easy. I mean, especially saying I want to tell jokes. It's not like, I'm a doctor now, I think I want to take up dentistry too. It's not that, it's like I want to go tell jokes.
It's jokes, it's just it's just a word.
I mean, most parents say, are you taking me for a joke?
It's exactly that, like, we paid for your studies, was that a joke as well? As it just... And then my family came on board and they were just like, we support your options. And because they've seen the growth and the opportunities that I've had. So they were just like, we support you. And with that said, though, the comedy community came in as well. And they were also like, we will look after you, we will support you. So everybody has come together to help me. It's the common saying of, it takes a community to raise a child.
Yes.
And it's exactly that way. It takes a community to raise, I would say, a person and a professional. So everybody that's been my community has been looking after me.
Yes, and I think you have an interesting story. Going forward, there are people watching the show, and there's people that I always say are not doing what they want to do because of this very thing we spoke about. What's your advice to younger, budding, upcoming Yaaseen Barnes and Riyad Musa sitting and watching the show and saying, I really want to do that? What's your parting advice to them?
The main thing is to find your passion, is to take a risk and find your passion. Because for me, I took the risk of standing on the stage and telling jokes. When I went there the first time, I did it because I wanted to be able to tell my children one day in the future, you know, I tried stand-up comedy. And then I could tell them the story of...
And I'm not joking about it.
Yeah, it's legit, it's a real joke. And I could, so it's just basically taking a risk and finding out things that's outside of your circle and finding your passion. Because once you find your passion, nothing in the world makes sense because you go like, this is all that I want to do. I just want to do this. There are people who are accountants, people who are doing, like, I'll say, normal jobs, standard jobs, but that's their passion and they do it well. Because once you find your passion, you strive and you give your effort towards it. And that's, if the world had more of those people, the world will be a better place, I feel.
Of course, and I totally agree with you, Yaaseen Barnes. It's been nice having you on the show. I want to invite you soon again to find out what you're up to, and we wish you well with what you're doing.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming. Yaaseen Barnes, upcoming, or rather out there already, comedian, one-liner, I understand it now. I'm going to catch more of those lines soon on Hear What It's All About. Thank you for joining us. Goodbye.